The 2023 Leagues Cup has come to an end. We've had some of the best matches of the tournament played in front of record crowds. It's been a great success, but unfortunately, like all good things, it came to an end. And not in the way that anyone expected. Because while the Seattle Sounders were crowned champions, no one will be talking about that. Instead, the post-game celebrations will forever be remembered as the time Luis Suárez lost it and spat on a member of the Seattle Sounders FC staff. Here's how it happened. Nearly 70,000 fans packed into Lumen Field for what should have been a perfect night for the Seattle Sounders. A fairy tale ending as the local underdogs toppled the most star-studded squad in MLS history to lift the Leagues Cup trophy. But instead of the celebration stealing headlines, chaos after the final whistle is what the world is talking about. And honestly, it all started with a bit of friendly banter. In the dying embers of the match, with the score at 5-4 and the Sounders on the attack, Obed, Vargas and Luis Suárez found themselves going up against each other. At first, it seemed like a pretty standard situation. But after a foul was called on the Uruguayan striker, things got heated. And we all know Suárez is never far away from controversy. In fact, he's probably the most infamous player in the world when it comes to losing his cool. And he'd actually been booked earlier in the match for his reaction to being substituted. As the two players walked past each other, Suárez put his arm around Vargas. At first, it looked playful, even brotherly. But then the Inter Miami man began putting pressure on the young Sounders star and quickly turned it into more of a head. He held him there for several seconds, and it didn't look comfortable. Eventually, Vargas shook free and brushed it off with a laugh, pointing at Suárez as he did so. But clearly, the Uruguayan hadn't let go of his frustrations. And moments later, things really kicked off. As the game ended and the Seattle players began celebrating with their supporters, it happened again. Suárez found himself face to face with the same young starlet. And once again, he put his arm around the kid. But this time, he wasn't having it. There's some reports that Suárez said something to the youngster, although we don't know exactly what those words were. But we do know that it led to a huge reaction. Vargas threw his hands up in the air and shoved the veteran striker, which immediately got him booked. But that was not the end of it. Because it is at this point that Sergio Busquets steps in. The veteran Spanish midfielder tried to calm everyone down. But things took another ugly turn when he reached around Cody Baker and landed a punch right on Vargas' chin. The young starlet went down, clutching his face. And from there, things got ugly fast. Players from both sides swarmed the area, pushing, shoving, grabbing, trying to pull the players apart, but it wasn't working. And soon the whole teams were involved in a full-on melee. The coaching staff ran onto the pitch, desperately trying to get their players under control. And it was absolute bedlam for several minutes. But in the middle of all that chaos, one thing stood out. And when the dust finally settled and the players were separated, cameras caught a disgusting sight. A staff member of the Sounders standing next to the Inter Miami players and coaching staff, holding a bloodied tissue to his neck. He'd been cut, and the culprit was Luis Suárez. He'd spat on him. How could he not? The striker was on the complete opposite side of the pitch. But somehow, the disgusting gob made its way across the entire field and landed right on the unsuspecting staff member. I mean, imagine, if you will, you're a Sounders fan. You've just seen your team beat one of the biggest in the world. The players are celebrating with the fans. You're raising the trophy. Your team has just won the Leagues Cup, and then all you can think about is Suárez spitting on someone. That's what he's known for. And despite having lifted the trophy, that's what the conversation will be centered around, and none more so than the head coach of Seattle, Brian Sch. This was supposed to be his moment. The hero of Seattle who led his hometown team to a historic victory. Only for that to be taken away and replaced by images of one of the greatest strikers of the modern era spitting on the floor. Look, we get it. People love Suárez. He has got a reputation for diving and theatrics and getting under the skin of opposition players and fans, and he's done it again here. But there's absolutely no excuse for his actions. If he's frustrated, fine. Take it out on the players. Take it out on the coaching staff. But to intentionally spit on someone, that's just disgusting. This isn't soccer, it's pathetic. And thankfully, the MLS understands that. In fact, they've already commented on the matter. They said, "We are aware of the incident involving Inter Miami CF players and staff and the Seattle Sounders FC staff that occurred at the conclusion of the 2023 Leagues Cup final. We are currently reviewing video footage and will have no further comment at this time. The incident will be reviewed by the disciplinary committee, and they need to come down hard on the double winners." We've already heard rumors that both Suárez and Busquets could be banned for several games, and given the nature of Suárez's crime, we think that's the minimum he should get. He has got a long history of these kind of antics, and he needs to be sent out for a month or two. Now, obviously, that would suck for Inter Miami. Losing your star player, especially one that brings in a big fan base every week, is never ideal. But at the same time, it sends a message to other players, other coaches, other members of staff that this kind of behavior will not be tolerated in the league. The same goes for Sergio Busquets. His punch was reckless, dangerous, and uncalled for, and he needs to be punished as well. I mean, where was he in all of that? Trying to break up the fight. He could have easily just walked away, let the young players sort it out. But instead, he got involved and punched someone right in the face. He's lucky that he wasn't sent off. In any other context, that's a straight red card. And in the domestic game, it probably would be. But given the circumstances, the ref didn't have much choice but to book him. However, the league does have the power to punish him further, and we hope they do. The funny thing is, neither of these players are actually in trouble with the law. The police have stated that they have no plans to press charges, so any punishment handed out will be down to the league. And as we mentioned, we think it's already been a great tournament for them. MLS Soccer by Warren Lee. Don't forget to follow us for more updates. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon.